Hi everyone, my name is Hannah First, and for my project I decided to do ice cream. So some fun facts about ice cream that I found. So the United States produces over 1.6 billion gallons of ice cream or frozen dairy products annually. The tallest recorded ice cream cone was over 9 feet tall, and it was scooped in Italy. In America, California produces the most ice cream out of all of the states. One cow can produce enough milk in a day to make 2 gallons worth of ice cream, and that equals roughly 730 gallons in a year. It takes about 50 licks to finish a single scooped ice cream cone. And lastly, the top 5 consuming countries are New Zealand, the United States, Australia, Finland, and Sweden. So briefly, I just wanted to touch base on the history of ice cream. So ice cream has dated back to the 2nd century BC. And historical figures such as Alexander the Great, King Solomon, and Nero Claudius Caesar were known to have created their own recipes for ice cream back then. And another historical figure was Marco Polo. Marco Polo actually created a recipe that today would resemble sherbet, but back then the recipe that he created actually evolved into the recipe for ice cream in about the 16th century. So next, on May 12th, 1777, the New York Gazette published the first ever advertisement for ice cream in America. And that advertisement is actually the picture that I have added on the screen. So ice cream was considered an exotic dessert and was typically only by people who were considered to be elite. And lastly, on the history of ice cream was a man named Jacob Fussell, and he was a milk dealer from Baltimore, and he actually started a manufacturing industry selling ice cream. So next we're going to talk about the nutritional value of ice cream, and this is going to vary depending on what flavor of ice cream you have. So for this, I decided just to do vanilla. So about a half a cup of vanilla is about 137 calories, and it contains about 7.3 grams of total fat, 14 grams of sugar, and 2.3 grams of protein, among the other nutritional values that are on this page. But those are the 3 that I felt were most important. As for the ingredients of ice cream, each flavor of ice cream is going to vary on its ingredients because everything is different, but there's going to be 3 main ingredients that you will see in mostly all of the ice cream flavors, and that would be sugar, cream, and the cream can be either heavy whipping or half and half, and then milk. So as I just said, there are other ingredients that are involved depending on what flavor. So you might see like vanilla extract, cocoa powder, peanut butter, mint, cookies, fruit. Anything that you can think to be in an ice cream flavor would be other ingredients that would be included. So next we're going to talk about how to make ice cream. So there's a couple different ways to make ice cream, but we're going to talk about churning first. So churning ice cream, what you need is a machine, and that machine is going to be like a bowl, and you're going to have to put that bowl in the freezer before you make your ice cream. So because that's how the ice cream is made, by that bowl being chilled and being frozen. So you're going to put that in beforehand, and roughly, I know for my machine, it takes about 24 hours for it to chill completely. So look at your machine, and it'll tell you how long it should be frozen before you make your ice cream. But as for the mixture, what you're going to do is in a saucepan on low heat, you're going to stir 3/4 cup of sugar, a cup of heavy whipping cream, and 2¼ cups of milk together until that sugar dissolves. And once that sugar dissolves, you're also going to look for a small ring of foam that's going to form around the edge, and that's when you know it's done. So you're going to remove it from your heat, and you're going to transfer that mixture into a large measuring cup. You're going to add in about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and you're going to chill that mixture for at least 2 hours, but it is recommended that you do it overnight. So after that, so however long you let your mixture chill, at least the 2 hours or overnight, you're going to pour that mixture into the ice cream maker, and you're going to turn the machine on and churn it however long that machine tells you that it'll take, or until it's reached that desired consistency. And lastly, you're going to serve it immediately, or you can cover it with plastic wrap, and you're going to just place it in the freezer to get it more firm. And what I mean by that is when you're making ice cream with the churning machine, what happens is air is being added to that mixture to thicken it and give you that more ice cream consistency. But another thing that's happening is the container is pulling the heat from that container, or from that mixture, I'm sorry, and it's making that mixture colder, and that's what's causing it to freeze. So as it's churning, that's what's happening. But another thing is, when you're making ice cream with a churning machine, it will not reach the full consistency of ice cream, and that's because that paddle will not allow it to, because it keeps rotating it. And if it did reach that full consistency, that paddle would not be able to keep rotating while it's making your ice cream. So next we're going to talk about how you can make ice cream in a bag. So this is a more simple way to make ice cream, and it's definitely a lot less time consuming, and you don't need a machine. So it's very simple. So what you're going to do is you're going to combine a cup of half and half, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract in a small resealable plastic bag. And you're going to try and remove as much air as you possibly can, and you're going to seal that bag up. That's just so that it doesn't leak. So after you do that, you're going to take a larger resealable bag, and you're going to take 1/3 cup of salt and 3 cups of ice and add it to that larger bag. And once you've done that, you're going to add that smaller bag of your ice cream mixture, and you're going to put that in and then seal it. After that, you're going to shake that for roughly 7 to 10 minutes, or until that ice cream reaches that consistency that you want. And then you can remove the ice cream from the bag and put whatever toppings you want on it, and you can enjoy it. So how this process works is a little different. So what's happening is the salt is actually lowering the melting point of the ice, making it a lot colder than the ice just itself. So then what happens is the ice is pulling the heat out of the mixture so that it can start to melt. So while it's pulling the heat out, it's actually making that mixture colder, and that's what's causing it to freeze and make that ice cream consistency. And lastly, we're going to talk about storing your ice cream. So you want to keep your ice cream as cold as you can, but keeping it consistently cold. So melting and refreezing can actually cause recrystallization, and we did talk about that during the semester. So recrystallization is when the water molecules start to enlarge, and because they're unfreezing, and then they're suddenly refrozen, so they're being refrozen at a bigger size. So that's what recrystallization is. Another thing is you want to keep your ice cream in the main compartment of your freezer and not the door or the drawer, however your freezer is set up. So what happens is when you open that door, you're exposing your ice cream to warm air, and that's going to cause it to melt and do the refreezing, and that's going to cause your recrystallization. So it's better to keep it in the main compartment so it stays at a consistent temperature and doesn't melt and refreeze. Another thing you can do to protect your ice cream is some ice cream brands, you have a plastic covering under the lid, and when you open your ice cream, most of the time you remove it. So you want to cover it with plastic wrap just to provide a barrier from air and moisture, and that can actually prevent freezer burn from occurring in your ice cream, just to keep it safe as well. And lastly, ice cream is best if it's consumed within a month of purchase, just to provide you with the best flavor and the best texture of that ice cream, if it takes you even a month to eat that container of ice cream. And then I have my works cited. I just wanted to conclude with something that was on my first slide. It said, stress spelled backwards is desserts. So make sure that you are giving yourself time to relax and de-stress from studying for finals and preparing to wrap up the end of the semester, and enjoy some ice cream, because I know I will be.